Have you ever been on vacation or a business trip and checked into your hotel room with no expectations except for what you've planned for the day? When you enter the room, do you get a feeling of dread, oddness, or melancholy? When nighttime comes, have you seen shadows in the darkness of your room? Or a figure standing at the foot of your bed, perhaps even crawling towards you from the bottom? Say you have a restless spirit in your hotel room, what would you do? Cut and run? Or stay to see what might happen? So do you think haunted hotels are real, or just the product of people's imaginations passed down through the years? Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on another night filled with tales of terror. Tonight we're looking into hotels shrouded in darkness and death, carrying a weight of timeless mystery. One can only surmise them to be haunted. As always, some stories are true, while others may be just the conjuring of someone's imagination. Nevertheless, one thing is for sure is that all these stories fall into the deep, dark caverns of the paranormal. So as you listen to these stories, you may be wondering if what you're hearing is fact or fiction. And here's where I'm going to ask you just to hold on till the end of the video so we can all learn together if you have figured out which story is actually a work of fiction. So for now, get comfortable, turn down the lights if you wish, and let's begin. On the other side of San Diego, California's bay is Coronado, where you'll find the Hotel del Coronado, also known as the Hotel Del, or simply the Del. The hotel is a magnificent site filled with balconies, verandas, and windows. Wide pointed towers top it, giving it a unique and timeless feel reminiscent of an era in the past. Opened in 1888, the Hotel del Coronado was the largest hotel and resort in the world. Since its opening, the hotel has hosted royalty and celebrities alike, such as Edward, Prince of Wales in 1920, and Presidents Harrison, McKinley, Taft, and Wilson. The hotel also became the in-place for Hollywood stars and starlets like Charlie Chaplin, Rudolph Valentino, Douglas Fairbanks, Mae West, Ginger Rogers, Joan Crawford, and Katharine Hepburn, to name a few. But did they come to party and stay at the Hotel del Coronado, or perhaps experience some of its ghostly history? The grandeur and magnificence are not the only things that make the Hotel del Coronado special. There is a dark past filled with death and a spirit that haunts the halls and grounds of this exquisite hotel that I am dying to share with you. So this is how the story goes. It was Thanksgiving Day when a beautiful young woman dressed all in black came to the Hotel del Coronado. She registered as Lottie A. Bernard from Detroit, but this was an alias name, and everyone would soon find out that her real name was Kate Morgan. She was 24 years old. Kate checked into room 302 on November 24, 1892. Staff at the hotel said Kate seemed kind and lovely, but she had a strong sense of melancholy. No one knew the truth about why Kate was at the hotel. Each person she spoke with gave differing reasons for her presence. She mentioned tending to some paperwork when there was none to be seen. She told staff that she was awaiting the arrival of her husband. Some guests she told she was suffering from stomach cancer but never showed any signs of pain or sickness. To others, she was said to have been waiting for a certain man to join her. She said it was her brother, but Kate didn't have a brother. She had only two half-sisters. It was later confirmed that Kate was married but estranged from her husband. So is it possible that Kate was at the hotel hoping for a lover to join her? So much of who Kate truly was and why she waited at the Hotel del Coronado is shrouded in such mystery that people are completely fascinated by her. Days passed as Kate waited for something or someone we will never know. And during this time, Kate's unexplainable melancholy turned into a deep sadness. 5 days after she checked into her hotel room, Kate was found lifeless on one of the hotel's stairways that led to the beach with a gun beside her that she had purchased only days before. The San Diego County coroner determined Kate suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound to her head. However, there is speculation of foul play. It was discovered that the bullet lodged in her head did not match Kate's gun. Kate Morgan checked into room 302 as Lottie Bernard, and some believe she never checked out. Ever since Kate's suicide or possible murder, guests who have taken their stay in her room have reported ghostly encounters and strange occurrences, like the feeling of fingertips lightly brushing their cheeks as they sleep. Kate's initials have appeared on the ceiling in the letters KM or LB, which the staff has repeatedly painted over. Sudden dips in temperature, along with doors opening and closing by themselves, flickering lights, and odd sounds during the night have been reported, as well as the television turning on and off randomly. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike have spotted Kate's ghost strolling through the hallways, the garden, and the seashore. Kate was a beautiful young woman taken away too early in life, and because of the mystery of Kate Morgan, her ghost has been nicknamed the Beautiful Stranger by the hotel's staff. It's been over 130 years since Kate took her last breath, yet she still appears, wanting to make her presence felt. Today, room 302 is now room 3327, the room Kate has been known to haunt. If you're lucky or unlucky enough to stay in this room, and you happen to feel a sudden cold breeze pass through you while in Kate's room, don't be alarmed. It's only Kate. Large and stately, the Stanley Hotel overlooks the mountain town of Estes Park, Colorado. The hotel's origins begin in 1903 with Freeland Oscar Stanley, inventor of the photographic plate and the Stanley steamer motorcar. Sick and frail from consumption, Stanley arrived with his sophisticated East Coast societal wife, Flora, to the vast Estes Park in search of relief from the illness that consumed him. And within only one season of his stay in Estes Park, his health was restored, and for that, he and Flora vowed an annual return to the valley each summer. Stanley built a grand hotel inside of Estes Park with his wife Flora at his side. The hotel opened in 1909. Guests were astonished by the luxurious grand hotel and all the fine amenities offered, such as electricity, telephones, ensuite bathrooms, uniformed staff, and a fleet of vehicles for their use. Surrounded by rustic wilderness, the palatial structure was a complete wonder that easily withstood the comparison of the posh hotels back east, and it quickly became the exclusive upscale mountain destination for the East Coast upper class and the wealthy elite. In 1974, famous writer Stephen King and his wife Tabitha lived in Boulder, Colorado. While working on his famous book, The Stand, the couple decided to take a weekend getaway to Estes Park. On the last day of the season, Stephen and Tabitha entered the Stanley Hotel as all the other guests were leaving. Stephen stated, "It was their last day of the season. Everybody was leaving and nobody was coming in. And we said, 'Can we check in?' They were given room 217. That night, the wind blew outside while Stephen and Tabitha slept all alone in the hotel. And it was on that night that Stephen had a lucid nightmare of a coiled fire hose coming to life and chasing his son throughout the halls of the hotel. Jolted awake from the terrible nightmare, Stephen lit a cigarette, and by the time he finished it, Stephen had created the outline for a book he would call The Shining. Since then, paranormal investigators such as ghost adventurers and ghost hunters have stayed at the Stanley Hotel and experienced some ghostly activities for themselves. As it turns out, room 217 already had a reputation for being haunted before Stephen King and his wife stayed there. It was in 1911 when housekeeper Elizabeth Wilson entered room 217 and was the victim of a severe explosion while lighting lanterns one evening. Some say there was a possible gas leak that actually caused the explosion. Regardless, Elizabeth suffered serious injuries from the blast, breaking both of her ankles. Though she survived the explosion, she continued to work as the head chambermaid at the Stanley Hotel until she died in the 1950s. Some guests and staff have reported a spirit in room 217. The spirit is believed to be Elizabeth Wilson. Some guests have shared stories of waking to a tidier room than before going to sleep that night. Some have woken to their clothes being folded and their suitcases organized. There have also been reports of a chilly presence in room 217 as they've slept. Other visitors and staff members have reported thumping on walls, disembodied voices, and childlike laughter. Then there's Eddie, dubbed the Stinky Man, because of the foul odors he would emit when he appeared somewhere within the hotel. Staff say that he resented the nickname and now only emits pleasant smells. Back during the early years of the Stanley, families would bring their nannies to care for the children. Designated to the 4th floor, the nannies and children would spend most of the day. Today, guests have heard the sounds of children running and laughing outside their door, but when they open the door, there are never any children there. Room 401 is said to be the creepiest room in the hotel. It's said to be haunted by a male ghost named Lord Dunraven, a man who owned land in Estes Park before it was built. Lord Dunraven displays different mannerisms between female and male guests. There have been reports of women staying in room 401 being inappropriately grabbed, having their hair touched, the sensation of a hand running up their legs, and having heard whispering. Men, on the other hand, have reported a hostile presence and have had some of their personal items disappear. One man claimed he watched his wedding ring move from the bathroom counter to the sink, falling down the drain. Room 407 is home to a more friendly spirit. Others speak of the feeling of someone sitting at the foot of their bed, and when they turn on their light, no one is there except for an indentation of the sheets. Several guests have claimed to be tucked in by something unseen as they go to bed. Throughout the night, a boy who stayed in room 407 repeatedly kicked off his blankets as he was continuously covered. He thought it was his mother covering him, but she never woke from her sleep that night. Some people report seeing a cowboy pacing the room at the foot of their bed or standing in a corner inside room 428. What's more, many women have awakened to the cowboy leaning over them as if going in for a kiss. It's rumored this is the ghost of a cowboy who was hanged for murder. Guests have reported footsteps and the sound of moving furniture above them, along with the cowboy. There isn't anything unusual about that except for the fact that there is no room above them. Did you know the Stanley has an underground cave? Many visitors have mentioned smelling fresh baked goods while touring. That may be because of the baker that haunts the underground cave. There have been sightings of a woman dressed in 1909 fashion that has been seen at the top of the stairway. There may be a geological basis due to the types of minerals and rocks found in the underground cave that may be drawing spirits to the Stanley. Nevertheless, don't be surprised if you catch a glimpse of F.O. Stanley strolling the hotel, especially inside the hotel's billiard room and bar, or Flora hitting the keys of the piano in the music room. The year was 1942 in San Pedro, California. World War II was on everyone's minds. Pearl Harbor had just been attacked by Japan, and everyone was on edge. Being a port town, San Pedro was home to Beacon Street. It was a part of town some might call seedy or sinful. Well, they actually did call it that. Beacon Street ran the span of 4 city blocks. It was a great place to be if you were looking for alcohol, women, and gambling, because Beacon Street was filled with bars, brothels, and underground gambling. It was also filled with sailors, soldiers, and guys getting drunk, picking fights, and lots of arrests. But Beacon Street is only a small part of this story. We're talking about the Hotel Cabrillo, located on Center Street, a block from Beacon Street. Angelica Sanchez was a 21-year-old woman from a middle-class family who had migrated to San Pedro in 1940. To her parents' dismay, she took a job as a cocktail waitress at the infamous Shanghai Red. Then one day, her fate walked through the door. Daryl Lucas. He was a local bookie who frequented the Shanghai Red. He was a good-looking guy with a lot of charm. He immediately caught Angelica's attention. Some say she even dropped a tray of drinks when she made eye contact with Daryl. It was an instant attraction. So they started dating, and things got hot and heavy for them pretty fast. In an effort to keep Angelica's reputation as clean as possible, the two started meeting at the Hotel Cabrillo on Center Street. Room 3C was their room 3 nights a week. People began to notice how Angelica lit up when Daryl entered the bar. Their connection was palpable. One night, Angelica got to their room early. When she walked into their hotel room, she received the shock of her life. Her father was there, enraged to find out that his innocent daughter was caught up in a sordid affair with a man with a dark and deadly reputation. He was not going to have this. With a gun in hand, he held Angelica there to wait for Daryl to show up. Daryl walked into the room only to see Angelica's terrified expression and her father pointing a gun at him. Before Daryl could say a word, it was over. Devastated, he lay there taking his last breaths as he watched Angelica's father ripping her out of the room and away from him. A few days later, Daryl was found and Angelica was never heard from again. Some say it wasn't her father that ended Daryl, but a rival bookie or gambler. Since then, people who have stayed in room 3C have reported hearing a loud bang like a gun going off. They heard what sounds like a man sobbing. Some say they get an overwhelming feeling of sadness, and some others say they feel anger. Yet some have reported their bed shaking in the middle of the night. One thing they all agree on is that it's probably Daryl's ghost reliving that horrible night again and again. Well, how'd you like tonight's stories? We all know that some stories are true, but were you able to figure out which one was a work of fiction? Let's just say Daryl and Angelica are pleased to let you know that they're only characters played out in another story created from my scary brain. Nevertheless, I truly hope that you enjoyed tonight's Tales of Terror. And before we say goodnight, be sure to click the like and subscribe button, leave me a comment down below, and be prepared for more Tales of Terror delivered to you weekly at 3 a.m. So, until next time, stay safe and stay scary.